Hello friends, you're the Lonesome Gamer, and I'm playing 7 Ages. In the last turn, the Egyptians became pretty big. And also some other people did spread out. Example here, the Satavahana, but also these these people here of the Pacific Islands, the Melanesians and the Polynesians, they become also a little bigger now and generate some points. So let's start the next turn. The first player is pink, and what happens right at the beginning, the English player, he's gonna play the Vizier to take the silver mine out of the deck into his hand. And it's definitely a very strong card. The Vizier allows you to take a card from the deck, from the discard pile. And then he's going to start an empire, and this will be Zimbabwe, the Zimbabweans. It can be played in H3. We are now in H3. They start with 15 bucks, don't have any cavalry. An interesting point is they gain 2 victory points or 2 glory points per trade won. They have a trade modifier of -1, but still that is really pretty cool. If they are second in Africa, they gain also a point. Shouldn't be so hard to be second in Africa. Maybe on the long shot they might be able to gain number 1 in Africa. So the Zimbabweans are definitely an interesting empire here. Okay, here they are. And then we're gonna see the gray player also start an empire. And he now has 2 empires he can start. The Vietnamese, and they are pretty strong actually. They have a lot of ways to generate income. They could be started, and they would start right here, right next to the Siamese. And that is definitely a problem, because that will pretty sure lead to a lot of trouble here. So he decides to do the following. He also has a card that allows him to start the Chams. They're not that great, although they're not that bad either. And well, it's actually hard to say who's better. Maybe the Siamese are a little better. They can be big in Asia, which gives them a lot of money. Yeah, I think they are a little better. And they come with more money. So what will happen is he will start the Chams and put them here with 15 bucks. And then we're going to do an attack pretty soon on the Siamese. And if we should die, it's not that bad. We can then simply play the Vietnamese and become a powerful civilization this way. It shouldn't be too hard to wipe out the remaining Siamese then with the Vietnamese. But for now, let's start the Chams. So they start with 15 bucks, have a setup of -4. And that's basically it. Okay, so here they are now. And it's really interesting to see that now really all the world is populated. A long time we've seen all the action going on in the Middle East and a little bit in Europe, then more and more in Europe, and now basically in the whole world the civilizations grow. Okay, so that was then the end of the Start Empire phase, and as you can also see now, every player controls 3 empires. We got all 15 empires that are possible in play. Let's go to the production. The Chu, well, they definitely want to produce simply because they are afraid of the Huns here. Okay, the Chu, they had an income of 24 actually. So that brings them to 25. And then they buy these 2 archers, and that's basically these are the last units they can buy. They don't have any more chits, and they're gonna play. The question is now where to place these guys. I think they're gonna place one here, and another one here. Yeah, that's probably the best they can do. So that cost them 8 bucks. It was 24. So they are at 16. And then they can build 3 fortresses. And that brings it down to 1. Okay, here we go. So let's place these things, where? Probably here. I mean, they're not that terribly helpful, just a +2 in defense, but they have the money, so why not fortify as much as possible? Okay, so that was the production of the Chu. Then the Chavin. No, they're gonna do civilized action. Production of the Polynesians, here we are. So, they're here. And I decided that these count as 0 income, because they're just whatever, too small, but they don't seem to be fertile or jungle or whatever, so they count as 0 income. These things give 3 each, so that's 6, that's 2, so that's 8. But they don't have their barbarian, so they gain 4 income and don't have to pay maintenance. It would be the same anyway. So that's 4 income for them. Problem now is, I wonder if the ships are a little cheaper for them. Yeah, ships cost 4, but only the initial ships. Damn it. So they cannot build. Well, they might actually think about buying an infantry here, maybe then moving here to Lausanne in the next step. That's an option. I think they're gonna do this. Yeah, I mean, yeah, why not? Let's build an infantry with 2, and then in the next production phase we will be able to build a ship, because we then have 2 bucks left, and then we can build a ship. Actually, I'm not going to place that infantry here. I'm going to place it here on the Carolines. I think that's better, because then I can move that ship away onto the sea somewhere. Yeah, that's definitely a better idea. I might then even consider to build a second. I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to build a second spear, and then in the next maneuver action I could move here to Kusan. Let's see. Oh, come on. Here we go. Yeah. Fine. Yeah, that's cool. The Romans, they are also going to produce. So before they do this, they could try to convert an adjacent area somewhere. I wonder if they should try to... Yeah, I think they can do this. I think they can take one of these and place them here in Burgundy. Yes, that's okay. Ah, damn it. Okay. And now they can do this because of their Christianity. And, well, let's count the regions now. Okay, here we are. The Romans can now buy these swords. They are pretty advanced in technology. So they're going to place a chariot here because they still want to go to the Sahara. And then let's see what we're going to do. We got 4 here. So I think I might place a sword here. There we are. And they have a +1. That's a special ability of them when fighting with the swords in the front line. Now let's see. I think I'm going to place another sword here. And, well, not sure. Maybe one here. And then one of these guys here in Rome. Hoping one day to get rid of this disorder here. Okay. So that was the production action, and they are out of money. Any more productions? Yeah, with the Celts actually. Okay, again, because I'm barbarian, I only get half my income, but I don't have to pay any maintenance. So that gives me 9 additional bucks, and I'm at 24 now because of that silver mine in the last turn. So I guess it might actually be a problem to find enough units to produce. Let's see what we can get. Okay, the Celts purchase these units here, and they still have $7 left. So we're going to place the 2 galleys, one here in the Ukraine, and then another one here in the Don Basin. They're not want to go on the oceans with these galleys, but they can also use the galleys to control these coastal areas. So if they're running out of land units, they can leave them there for control and use the land units to go more inland. Okay, and then we got these guys here, one here. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna place that one here. That is fine. And possibly another one here. Okay, cool. Okay, and the Irish, they want to also produce. They use their wild card to do this. So that costs the green player a glory point. And, well, that gives them nothing, we decided. They count as desert. So it's not that great, actually. It's 6, and England is 8, 9. Overall, they have to pay maintenance. That's not worth a lot. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So they just gain 3 units. That kind of sucks. Still, I mean, it would be enough to get rid of the disorder there if they do a maneuver action. Then let's see. Oh, 3. Okay, so $3 for the Irish. They buy a spear, so they are at 1. Okay, here we go. And we place that one here. And at the end of the next maneuver phase, we would then allow to remove that disorder marker here. And, well, we might think about doing this simply to improve our income. I mean, this all takes quite a long time, but I don't really know what to do else. Okay. So, the Irish, and then we come to the trade and progress action, and we see the Egypt. They are in a dark age, so they want to go out of this dark age, and they have to trade with the Minoans. Because they're the only one within range. No, that's actually not true. They could also trade with the Huns over there. And the Huns, they have probably a negative trade modifier. So maybe that's interesting. They have a trade modifier of -2. So maybe the Egypt are interested in trading with them. Okay, well, the Huns decided to play the 7 card, and the Egyptians decided to play the 5 card because they don't have a better card. And now each player draws the 2 other cards for trade. So first the Egyptians. That's a 3 and a 4. So that is an average of 4. That brings them to 5. 4 is 9. And do we have some good trade modifier here? No. So they have a 9. What about the Huns? Well, oh, that's a 7 and a 2. So that is also a 5 in average. Yeah. So that's a 12 then. But then they have a -2 trade modifier, so that brings them to 10. Is that so? Yeah. So yeah, obviously seems that the Huns, they have won that trade, which sucks for the Egyptians because they stay in this way. They stay in the Dark Age, which is pretty bad. Okay, these cards go away. The Huns, they win actually. Yeah, they move on 2 spaces. So it's kind of funny. They are now the second most advanced civilization, just rampaging through Asia. And then do we have another trade in progress? Yes, we do. The Minoans. They also want to do a trade because they're also in a Dark Age. And, well, let's see who they want to trade with. They have a lot of options. They can trade with the Romans, with the Celts, with the Egypt. So, they could even trade, I guess. No, they cannot trade with the Irish. But the Romans and the Celts would be fine. So I guess they're gonna trade with the Celts. I think they have a trade modifier of a -1, and the others only have a trade modifier of 0. So that's to their advantage then. So let's see. I guess they're gonna take this. Yeah, they're gonna play. Although the Koreans are also pretty amazing. Well, it's not too late. Maybe we should have started these guys instead of playing the champs, but now it's too late. No. Huh. It's interesting. Okay, let's follow the plan now. So I'm going to throw in the Koreans. While the Celts, well, do they want to win that trade? Well, actually, they are not that interested in winning this trade, simply because they don't want to proceed too fast into the Dark Ages. On the other hand, the gray player is still ahead, and we want to get him. We don't want to make him too many points, so that means basically for the greater good. But they should have won. They should win this trade. But on the other hand, they got these cool. They got these cool cards here. These the Bad Augury and the Vizier, which are pretty cool event cards. So I guess they will actually throw away the moon landing, the Inuits, and that's it. So the Koreans draw 2 cards. That's a 3 and a 2. So that's a 9. And, well, that's not the Koreans, but the Minoans. And then they have a trade modifier of +1. So they have a 10. And that is a 4 and a 3. So that's a 5 minus 1. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so obviously the Celts have lost that trade. And the Minoans have 1, which allows them to move ahead a space. They could also move ahead a second space, but then in the next turn, or at the end of the turn, they would end up in another Dark Age. And that's something they don't want. So they want to end up here at the end of the turn. So this card goes now to the... Well, this is interesting. They get now this card here, which says bargain. Play when target empire concludes trade and progress. It can initiate 1 more trade. That is something they could do right now, actually. But I think they won't do it yet. Maybe later on. Okay, here we are. Okay, so that was the trade and progress phase then. We come to the maneuver phase, and the Siamese, they want to do a maneuver action, and they're going to do this. They are now threatened here by the Chams, but they're going to fight. And so what they're actually going to do is, well, first of all, they're going to spread out a little bit. Two will move here, another one will move here. Well, actually, maybe they should spread out completely, just like this. Okay. So that's fine for now. And then they will play this card. The rare conjunction. It's this card right here. And that play when target empire finishes its action. It may take any second action immediately, even out of order. So they will do a production action now. So that means they gain 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 8, and 5, that's 13, 14, and they have to pay 5 maintenance. So this is then, they gain $9, because they already have 3, that brings them to 12. And now they might be able to buy some new units. I wonder if I should play the militia here. Well, actually, I don't think so. It's only $5 here. Would allow me to play when target empire starts production. It pays no maintenance but loses 1 elite marker. But the empire is so small, so I could play that, for example, on Egypt. There it would save me an enormous amount of money. But for them it's not that great. still, I mean, if they want to survive, maybe it's a good idea. I mean, we might need every unit here. Okay, I will play it. I will play the militia, so I got 5 more bucks here. And I also gain points for having money, so it might be a good idea to play that now. And, well, let's buy some units now. Okay, so it will not be that easy now to beat them. Oops. And here we go. So, and that was then their maneuver action with the rare conjunction. Now let's see, do we have another maneuver action somewhere? Yes, now the Huns, of course. They can now do their long expected attack on the Chu Empire. Well, let's see. I mean, they are strong, that's for sure. Question is now, do they want to attack that city here or this one down here? Well, that's a tough call. I mean, if they manage to destroy this city, the Chu would have lost their capital. That's kind of cool. I think I'm going to try this one. So they can do now their first maneuver action. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. And then 1, 2, 3. It's interesting to see that Attila will die at the end of that turn. So then they are no longer that fast as they are now. Okay, so let's do this fight. I'm pretty sure it's going to be very, very interesting. Okay, so I'm pretty sure the Chu can win this battle. The Huns are not that strong anymore. For some reason it feels like, I don't know, times have changed. So let's see. The Huns have, that's 12, that's 15, 25, 28. The Chu have 12, okay, 14, and so they got 19. It's going to be hard for them. But then they have the mountains, which gives them 3. And the city gives them also 3, and the 4 gives them 2. So that gives them 8 additional points, just for the terrain effects. So this is 19. So that brings them to 27. So that is definitely possible. I mean, it's an open battle. 27 for these guys, 29 for the other guys. But, and now it's going to be interesting, the Chu have a few cards. And I think they simply place this one here, outflanked. That's a pretty deadly card. And well, that card says, choose one side during conflict resolution. That side halves its unit values in conflict. That's a strong card. But now the Greek says, on the other hand, it might be interesting to see that card. Yeah, I think that's, I mean, the Greek might think, or not the Greek, the green player, he now thinks, okay, the pink player is pretty far ahead, together with the gray player. So maybe it's not such a bad idea to allow the Huns to do some damage here to the Chu Empire. On the other hand, even if this card is not used, I mean, you could play the bad augury here, but even if this card is not used, it's probably not that effective. What else could we say? Well, there is this mesmerized thing. Oh gosh. Okay, so the green player decided that the Chu have such a big economy that it won't be that hard for them to defend themselves against the Huns, even if the battle now should be lost by the Chu. It won't be lost that terribly bad, so maybe the Huns would end up with 3 units remaining or something like that. So that is not such a big threat then. So it decided to don't use this bad augury card, and instead this outflanked card will be used now. So they have to halve their values now. That means they only have a value of 15 then, and the Chu have a value of 25. So usually it's a good idea to keep an eye on your flank, but Attila has gone old, and well, he's not the best strategist anymore, obviously. So let's draw a card for the Huns. Okay, that's 19, and the Chu 28. So that means they can keep 5 units, which means all their units, and the Huns are defeated. So overall, in terms of victory points, they were actually not that successful. That's interesting. And Attila died in battle as an old man, because he would have died anyway at the end of the turn from old age. Okay, so the Chu, it seems like the Chu will remain now one of the biggest empires in the world. That's interesting to see here. They have really a solid foundation with all the cities, the fortresses. They might remain for a very long time in play. And it might even be an advantage for them that they are not technological so much advanced, simply because they can generate a lot of points during the next turns because they don't come into a dark age. Okay, so the Huns are destroyed. Here we are. And their money marker also goes away. And that's it. Okay. Do we see any more maneuver actions? Yes, we do. The Plains Americans. They're going to spread out a little bit here in North America. So yeah, they simply move. Well, just like that. Become a little bigger, control all these great fertile areas here. That gives them a good income. That's fine. That's then the end of the maneuver actions. We see a destiny action by the Melanesians. So now we come to the civilized phase. And the Chavin, they're going to do a civilized action. So first we could play some artifact and events. And that is something we definitely want to do. We have a few interesting options here, I guess. Okay, first of all, we're going to play Confucianism on the Melanesians. It is possible because they control an area in Southeast Asia. And that gives them a glory point. In addition, if I'm right, no disorder marker will be placed in their country. So that is not such a big advantage, but well, it gives them a glory point, which is kind of neat. Although I wonder if I should do it because I don't want the Chinese to get Confucianism, because I want to have the option to do them some harm with event cards. So on the other hand, I think it's fine. I think I can do it. So let's play that card. So here we are, Confucianism. That gives the yellow player a glory point. And then let's see what else we can do. Great library. We could play that also somewhere. Would be fun to play it also on these guys, but maybe it's better here. I think it's not yet on the board. Let's see what the effects of that thing are. Okay, I was making a stupid mistake here. I mean, it's not too bad, but I want to give it's the yellow player, and he's actually controlling the Chu themselves. It's not the yellow player who's doing this. I mixed the Polynesians up with the Melanesians. So the Melanesians are the blue guys. And this is not the yellow player who is doing these actions, but the red one. So that means he's going to play Confucianism on the Chu. And that is definitely cool for the Chu, and they will gain a glory point for that. Now then, they're going to play the Great Library. And I'm not sure if I want to play it possibly on the Chu. That gives them an additional trade point. So, well, let's place that here. And of course, also another glory point. So what else do we have? We have the flood and the earthquake. These might be interesting options to do some damage. Well, the Egyptians actually decided to play the strange omen, play this immediately, any artifact card is played, discard it instead. So that means the Great Library cannot be played, because the Egyptians want to stay at the top of the artifact rank. But the Chu found a pretty nasty way to take revenge. They play a flood, and the Nile, there will be a flood here. Play alternatively, every land area adjacent to one river passing through target empire gets a disorder marker. So that is really painful for the Egyptians. Let's see. Come on. We need some disorder here. Okay, here we go. So first of all, and that's the big problem, there will be disorder here in Egypt itself. So that's a tough one. And then Sudan, which has basically no effect. And the mountains here. And here in these mountains. So that is kind of a that will throw Egypt back a little bit. So okay. Then they can promote a leader, a Chavin. They only have one pick. And that is a tactician. Well, that's not that great. There is nobody else here. So, not sure if they will need a tactician anywhere at all. But maybe someone shows up there. And well, by the way, that leader will die at the end of the turn anyway, so doesn't matter. And then they can do urbanization. So that is kind of cool. They can simply build another city somewhere to increase their income, and they're going to play that here. Cool. So that's then the end of the civilized action of the Chavin. And then we see a civilized action of the Sadavahana. So they might also play some cards. The Sadavahana are the blue guys. Okay. Okay, then they're going to play these paved roads here. Well, first of all, that is now a blue artifact. And following the rules, these blue artifacts don't give you glory points. But my house rules say they will do this, because otherwise it might be hard for them to be played at all. I mean, the paved roads, they are not that amazing, their effect, but the mesmerize card is pretty good. So I think it's just fair to give the player who plays these cards a glory point. And now, this artifact is not played on the empire that played it, but is placed on the progress track, and it's placed 7 spaces ahead minus the age the empire is in. That's how I read it in the rules. It's a little bit weird and complicated, but that's what I think that happens. So the empire is in age 2. Yeah, is it? No, wait a minute. These are the Zimbabweans. It's actually in age 1. I mixed that up. I mixed the colors. These and these, they are not that easy to distinguish. So this whole thing won't work, because you have to be in age 2 to play that card. Still, I wonder, I mean, I can't play that card on another empire. I could simply play it on the Chu, for example. Yeah, that should be possible. And then it's no problem. I'm gonna play it on the Chu. And then it also gives me a point. The Chu are in H2. And now let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this thing will show up here. The paved roads. And their effect, the point is now, each empire that gets to this point or is already beyond has now paved roads and can use their effects. And well, the effects are not that awesome. It simply allows you to if you want to enter a city during a maneuver phase, or during a maneuver phase, if you want an area with a city that is bigger than level 1, then you only pay 1 movement point regardless of the terrain. So an example, if I want to enter with the Chu the capital, that is a level 3 city, usually I had to pay 3 movement points because it's in the mountains, but now with the paved roads I only have to pay 1 movement points there. And this is basically it. So it's not such a great card, but yeah, I think giving them a glory point is a good idea here. And I guess this is all I'm gonna play. What's interesting, they had this paved roads actually a second time. Whatever. And no, wait a minute. Am I again mixing things up? Damn, I'm not sure. Of course, I'm sorry, I'm a little tired. I messed this up completely. The Satavahana were actually doing this civilization. It wasn't the Chavin anymore. That was the last civilization. Now it's the Satavahana. And they played the paved roads. Yeah, pretty sure about that. Damn it. Okay, so now they are playing the paved roads. They are in H2, so they can do this. That means they will gain a glory, and that's the green player. And this is it. The rest... No, wait a second. We might have to place them somewhere else now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So only the Minoans have now paved roads. Okay. So... and that is gonna be all they're gonna play for now. Then they can also promote a leader, And they can control up to 2 leaders. So they have 2 picks. That is no leader. And again, no leader. Man, that was bad luck. Okay. And finally, they can do an urbanization. And they're going to build 2 cities in their fertile areas. Okay. So we see one here. And another one right there. Okay, so this is then the end of the civilized actions and more or less the end of the turn. All we got to do is do the progress. The Egypt stay in the Dark Age. The Minoans move on. They can now build these knights. The Romans, they also enter a Dark Age. And now things are starting to get a little weird. You see, I mean, Minoans that can build knights and so on. So we come now to the point of these civilization games where sometimes these old civilizations, they last for a very long time, and then things are getting a little weird. So now the Chavin, they enter a new age. That means that their leader will actually die. And the Plains Americans also enter the new age, and so do the these are, wait a second, the Melanesians, but they don't have any leaders anyway. Okay. Let's do the glory. The Chu, well, they are really glorious. They gain 4 glory points, and they definitely deserve it. It's a little sad, they can simply not generate more. It's not such a great empire. Their possibilities, their perspective is not that great. But on the other hand, 4 glory points is a solid number. The Chavin, well, 2 glory points for them. South America and their homeland. I wonder if they have a chance to be the biggest in the world. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What about the Celts? Well, they control 6 spaces. No, even 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Yeah, no way here. And the Melanesians, they also gain 2 points for their homeland and for Australia. So for the first time now, somebody is tie again with the gray player, but only for a short while, because the gray player hasn't harvested his glory action. But still, that happened since the beginning of the game. That didn't happen, which makes it more interesting. So let's see the Pharaonic Egyptians now. Well, they are in trouble, that's for sure. 1 for their homeland. Okay. What about Africa? Well, that's not so easy anymore, because, well, actually I might have made a mistake there anyway, because I forgot one important point here. The Central Mediterranean, these sea spaces, they count as African and European spaces. So especially at the beginning of the game, when the Egypt controlled for a very, very long time only 2 spaces. I'm pretty sure that there were moments, although I'm not sure about that, but it is possible that the Minoans also controlled 2 spaces out of Africa, which would then mean that there was a tie, and maybe in a very few turns the Minoans were ahead. So maybe the Egyptians have 1 or 2 points more than they should have, but I'm not sure about that. I really can't tell, but it is possible. So let's see now. Problem is, the Egyptians only control 1 area from Africa, which is the Red Sea. Everywhere else there is disorder. So that's a real problem, and because there are some other guys who also control 1 area, but they still would be number 1. But now the Minoans, these 2 ships, they make the difference, because that means now that the Minoans control actually 3 areas of Africa, and so the Egyptians won't get that point anymore. What about the world? Well, the Egyptians, if it comes to the world, they only control 4 areas. That's also not enough anymore. So this flood was really, really painful for them. Maybe they gain a few points or 1 point for their artifacts. They control 3 artifacts. So do the Romans. The Romans have a philosopher. So, yeah, that at least they gain 1 additional point here for the artifacts. In addition, they are in a dark age, so that means they only gain 1 more point. Huh. Well, that really sucks. That really sucks. If they wouldn't have that big army here, which would allow them to spread out and gain a lot of income, even though there is this flood, I would actually discard them right now, possibly. Because it's going to be very hard for them to get rid of this disorder. But luckily, they have that big army, and that gives them a big advantage. The Polynesians. Okay, well, they control 2 ocean areas, which would be enough to be number 1 in the world, but also the Irish control these 2 ocean areas, and they have a philosopher, so that means they are number 2 in the world. But that is fine. That gives them 2 points. And the Siamese, well, they control their home area. They're biggest in Southeast Asia, and that's basically it. So 2 more points for them. Okay. Well, that was not such a great turn. Egypt is pretty much in trouble right now. Yeah, well, okay, whatever. And they will need a few turns to recover from this. In addition, they are stuck in this stupid dark age. And there are a lot of dark ages before them, so that's not looking that great for them. Let's see. We have the red player, the Romans, but they are also in a dark age. So 1 for their home country. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in Europe. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Celts, 7. They control 7. Okay, so they are second in Europe, which gives them then 2. They have the most artifact, which gives them 2 more. So they are at 5, and that's it. And then, because they're in a Dark Age, they generate 3 glory points. Still, this is not that bad. Zimbabwe, well, that's... let me see. Minoans are number 1, that's for sure. The Egyptians are number 2, because they are first in turn order. So that means no points for Africa, only a point for their home country. And that's it. The Celts. Wow. Okay, let's see. The Celts are big, and the Celts are actually biggest in Europe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that gives them 3 points. Okay. What about the Irish? Well, they control their homeland, Britain, and now let's see. 4 areas for the Irish. 3 for the Minoans. But the Celts and the Romans, they have more than the Irish, so that means they are now not one of the biggest of the 3 biggest countries, Christian countries in the world. So only 2 points for the Irish. And the Satavahana, well, number 1 in India, and they control their homeland, so 2 points for them. And then we see the grey player, and he will now get the lead again. So this is their homeland. And what about the biggest fleet? Well, number 2. Is that so? No, because the 2, they have also 3 ships, so they won't get the biggest fleet anymore. So that means they only control their homeland, and this is it. So that's only 1 point for these guys, for the Minoans. Oh boy, that sucks. You really have to consider if you want to hold on to these guys. That's going to be a tough decision. They are not that strong. Only 1 point for them. Maybe they're going to be, even though they are the most advanced civilization, but they don't have a great perspective here, I guess. The Plains Americans, well, at least 2 points for them, second in America and their home country. And the Champs, well, they basically control their homeland, and this is it. So as we can see now, the advantage of the grey player shrinked enormously. The pink player is really catching up, only 4 spaces behind. That is impressive now. Okay. So that was then the end of that turn. We've seen some interesting things. The Egyptians are really in trouble, but I think they can get out of this because of their big army. The Chu were able, with an interesting tactical maneuver, they outflanked the Huns. They were able to yeah, to defeat them and to really stabilize their big empire. We're going to see some interesting conflicts here in Southeast Asia, I guess. In India, the Satavahana are also a promising empire. And Europe, yeah, I mean, Celts and Romans. This is also going to be interesting here. And also Zimbabwe. So some interesting things are going to happen in the next turn, that's for sure. But I'm going to make a break with this game now. I want to step back a little bit. I've done now, I don't know, about 10 hours of playing or so and 10 videos. So I want to do something else in the next days. And I'm going to do a playthrough of Cuba Libre. I want to play Archipelago for myself off camera. So yeah, but I think I'm going to be back in maybe a week or so, and then we continue this great journey through history. Until then, hope to see you in my next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.